This video is brought to you by Fantasy Draft, the home for rake-free daily fantasy.
Hey, what's going on? Jeff Ratcliffe here. Every year in fantasy football drafts, one of the biggest mistakes that I see people make is drafting a team defense anywhere other than the last two rounds of your draft, especially when you're drafting them in the middle rounds. You do not need the top fantasy defense to win your league. So if you're looking at the Bears in the 8th or 9th round, pass them up. You don't need them to win your league. Ask anybody who drafted the Jaguars last year in that range how that worked out for them. The Jaguars didn't even finish as a top 10 fantasy defense. They were being drafted in the 8th round. And then you have the Bears, the breakout defense of the year. They were often coming off the board in the last two rounds of the draft. So if you're looking at the Bears this year, I mean, really, it's a stretch. You could be using your bench spots much more wisely in that range, loading up on wide receivers and running backs instead of drafting a defense. Plus the fact that you have to consider, hey, they're facing the Packers in week one. It's not like the Packers are a pushover on the offensive side of the ball. So even if you said, all right, well, maybe I don't get them, but I get a top 5 defense. The Jaguars, a lot of folks have them as a top 5 defense. Yeah, the Jaguars in week one, they play the Chiefs. Good luck with that one. I'm going to pass. That's a hard pass on that one. How about, a defense like the Saints, who a lot of people are regarding as a top 10 defense? They face the Texans. Not necessarily a pushover of an offense either. Really, your best bet at team defense every single year is to stream the position. That just means you're playing matchups week in and week out. You're dropping defenses, picking up new defenses, and you're not going to be the only person in your league who knows how to do this. Other people do, but the good news is that every single week, there are more than just a few matchups that you can exploit for fantasy football purposes. So why not kick off the season in your draft fully expecting to just stream? It makes more sense. Let's exploit the week one matchups. Let's go after this thing. And really, I mean, the obvious answer to the question, I think, would be the Baltimore Ravens going up against the Miami Dolphins. The Ravens are a good defense. There's no doubt about it. And they're going to be a top 10 fantasy defense off the board. But you don't have to spend an early pick. You get them against the Miami Dolphins, though, and it looks like, as of now, Ryan Fitzpatrick trending towards being under center. We've seen him, Fitz magic, but at other times, Fitz terrible. So hopefully you get the latter there in that matchup and take advantage of it in week one and then start rolling from there. And you may sometimes you end up streaming and you land on a really good defense. You get that breakout defense and then you just stick with them. You don't always have to stream in those instances, but that could play out. Now, like I said, the Ravens are very likely going to go. They maybe come off the board before you take your defense. It's not a big deal. Don't panic. Wait till the last two rounds to take your defense. There are a couple other defenses who stand out to me as viable week one streamers. Got to go with the Philadelphia Eagles against the Washington Redskins. The Eagles have some talent on the defensive side of the ball. And the Redskins, with Case Keenum under center, they don't have one of the better offenses in the league. I love me some Darius Geis, but in terms of the overall potency of that offense, not much there. A prime streaming option with the Philadelphia Eagles. You can also look, I know a lot of people are looking to the Buffalo Bills to stream them in week one. The Jets have looked pretty good so far in the preseason. So maybe we go to the other side of that and we stream with the New York Jets. We go up against Josh Allen. We know, hey, he can make some spectacular throws, but he's a young quarterback who can be mistake prone. Why not try and take advantage of those mistakes? Fantasy team defense is all about opportunity, and this is an opportunistic matchup for sure. If you want to dumpster dive, though, I love me some dumpster diving with some fantasy defenses. If you want to dumpster dive, I think the interesting option on the board, bear with me on this one, is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, they face the San Francisco 49ers, and here it is. Again, all about opportunity, because are the Bucs one of the better defenses in the league? No. But any defense for fantasy purposes could be a standout. It's totally different than, the other positions, because you could be the worst defense in the league and be the highest scoring defense any given week in fantasy. If you're the worst quarterback in the league, you're not going to be the highest scoring fantasy quarterback in any given week, right? So it's a little bit different logic here, and what we're doing is we're taking advantage of Jimmy Garoppolo. Jimmy Garoppolo has struggled in the preseason. We saw him struggle mightily in week 2 of the preseason. And then even in practice, we're hearing, reports of him throwing 5 straight interceptions. We're going to take advantage of that with this matchup. That's what it's all about when you stream defenses. And the good news, if If you want to start streaming, we have your streamers every week for you. Who to target on the waiver wire to stream at Team Defense. That's going to be all for you over at PFF.com. And go check it out. There's a lot more goodies over there, in addition to the Fantasy Playbook, which will set you up for which defenses to stream in your drafts. That's my Fantasy Playbook, and that's PFF.com.
Thanks for watching the PFF YouTube channel. And if you want to subscribe, all you have to do is push the button. Don't forget everything you get. A little fantasy, push the button. A little green line for the gambling aspects of the game, push the button. College football, push the button. The YouTube channel from PFF.